Hey everyone, welcome to Community Focus. I'm Commissioner Tim Echols. I'm your host, and I'm at my office at the Capitol. No one else much is here. The legislature will be in a little while. It's 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock in Covington, Georgia, and we're focused today on Covington out in Newton County. And as you go out I-20 heading towards Augusta, you pass through their great community. I'll just start out by saying that when I was in high school, my high school, North Clayton, we played Newton County in our region, and we were at a football game sitting there in Covington. I guess it was maybe 1977, 76, and one of our ROTC guys was a pilot, and he was only 17 years old, but he had his pilot's license, and they decided, I wasn't involved with this, I promise, they decided that they were going to buzz the Newton County Stadium during halftime while the Newton County band was playing and throw out rolls of toilet paper on top of the band. So, in fact, they did that, and all the Eagle fans, we cheered and laughed. But unfortunately, my buddies, when they landed their airplane, I think there were some FAA people waiting on them. You can't really do that. But they had a good time, and it was certainly a memorable experience. Well, I'm going to kick off this inaugural event here for Community Focus by focusing on human trafficking, and we're gonna bring our other guests back in just a moment. But we've got Faith Henning, my assistant, who is from Covington, Jessica Lamb, the founder of Atlanta Redemption Inc., and Jesse Rollins, who's a fireman there and also a tattoo artist in Covington. Faith, you and I have worked to fight human trafficking, for many years, and it's great to have Jessica and Jesse here. Faith, introduce Jessica and her great work.
So Jessica has been a guest of ours on our Unholy Tour several times, and she's the founder of Atlanta Redemption Inc., which is an organization who works to cover and remove tattoos and brands and scars especially for survivors of human trafficking. So you want Jessica to go ahead and tell her story and tell how Atlanta Redemption Inc. got started?
Yeah, let's tell that story, Jessica.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm honored to be here today. My name is Jessica Lamb. I'm the founder and director of Atlanta Redemption Inc. We are a Georgia-based nonprofit organization. As Faith has already said, already came out of lived experience. It was birthed out of my own experience. When I was 14 and 15 years old, I was being groomed by a man in our church that we had trusted. And he began sexually abusing me as a teenager. And to cope with that, I was self-harming. And I dropped out of high school when I was 16, and I ended up running away from home. I grew up in a very good home environment. My parents are both in ministry. And so I really didn't feel like I had a way to turn to anyone at that time. So I just kind of ran. I'm known to run away from issues that kind of arise when I was younger. So I started looking for a job, and I found an ad in a paper that offered room and board for me to work at customer service office. And so I talked to the manager, which was a trafficker at the time, for several weeks off and on. And I was like, I don't know. I've never been away from my house before. But I kind of was in this survival mode where, I got to a point where I couldn't stay in my car, and I couldn't, trying to figure out how to eat. And he was like, I'll take care of you. Everything's going to be fine. And so I was very naive, and I trusted that. And I drove down to Griffin, Georgia, where I met this man. And for the next 6 months of my life was pretty horrific. I was very vulnerable. I was very scared. Like I said, I was very naive. I was a very easy target. He preyed on my insecurities. He tended to squash my dreams. I had dreams of being an artist. I wanted to be a tattoo artist. I loved to sing. Everything that was important to me, he squashed. And during that time, we all had matching tattoos. There was me and a couple other girls in this house. And so he basically stripped everything from me. Um, there's a lot of stats about what being a trafficking survivor is like. And although we have a lot of similarities, all of our stories are different. There's a lot of statistics. And like I said, the similarities might be there, but, you know, a lot of the things can be very much different. In October 2003, my trafficker tried to take my life, and I managed to escape. Something rose up in me like some kind of animal, and I was able to get out of that house. I was barefoot. It was hot. I remember burning the bottoms of my feet, running to a Salvation Army, trying to escape. And so fast forward, in 2016, I was married, or I am still married, sorry. I'm married, I had a baby, and I still had this mark on my body, and my husband had to look at it. I had to see it every day. And I was like, you know, I don't want to live like this, and I don't want this on my body, and I don't want him to have to see it every day. I surely don't want to have to see it every day. It's not part of who I am anymore. It's a part of my past. It's part of my story, but it's not who I am. It's not my identity. And so I went through the process of trying to get that covered up, and that was the most horrific experience in itself. The shop I went to was not a very good environment. The artist was extremely disrespectful. There was drugs in the shop. And I remember thinking, this is something that God had laid on my heart to do in my community, but this is not the environment that I want to bring people into. So I was trying to think of how I could help people in my community in this fashion, but not be in these types of atmospheres. So in July of 2017, I brought my first survivor to a shop. The artist was fantastic, but the shop was still not the environment that I was looking for. It was definitely not the environment I wanted to bring trauma survivors into. I'm not saying that was all the shops, it just was this one in particular. So I went back to the drawing board. A few weeks later, I met Jesse at Ironclad. Somebody had connected us. And I remember sitting at my kitchen island when I texted him and I said, God, please help the shop to be different. You know, I was like, I really need some hope here. And so the moment I walked into Ironclad, I knew that it was different.
So Jesse, you're Ironclad. And what was it like meeting Jessica and getting involved in her work?
Well, first of all, she's a very sweet lady, but a very dynamic personality. She was very humble and gracious, but at the same time, you can tell there's something about her that's focused and driven. And from the moment I met her, it didn't really matter what she asked of me. I was going to say yes. And after I heard her story, and she was very brief with it with me, but I think the question came more directly from her in the fact that she just blurted out, hey, I'm in this foundation and this is what I do. And are you interested? And I didn't hesitate. I think I didn't even spend 5 seconds thinking about it. The answer was immediately yes.
Wow. So Jesse, I don't have any tattoos, you know, myself, and I mean, you're running a tattoo parlor. Is the tattoo business, is it going well? I guess.
It's going very well. We've kind of tried to change the face of tattoos within our city and our county, and try to be an example of what the art aspect of tattoos should be, and not necessarily what it used to be, as far as being involved with gangs and motorcycle clubs. And that's fine. They deserve to have artwork too. But there's a stigma about tattoos that says that you don't get one unless you're involved in a specific lifestyle. And that's not necessarily true anymore. It really is more of an emotional expression of where you are in life. And it can be a remembrance of where you were in life. And that's where we kind of tie back to Jessica's foundation, is we're trying to take these women and give them something that they can be proud of instead of something they're ashamed to show.
Jessica, how can folks find out about your organization, Atlanta Redemption, Inc.?
They can find us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We are also at AtlantaRedemptionInc.com, and that's INK, not INC. So AtlantaRedemptionInc.com. You can also Google it. A lot of people find us through Google as well.
Yeah, I'm going to Jessica say bye to you because I know you need to. I know you need to take off with some childcare issues. So Jessica, I'm going to keep you on here. Jesse, I'm bringing in Scott and Trey. Jessica, have a great day. Thanks for being on with us today. Really
Thank you.
You know, Jesse, you're also a fireman, and we've got Scott
Yes,
Andrews and Trey Sanders just popped in. Scott's the city manager for Covington. Trey's community development director. Switching now back to your fire hat, Jesse, I mean, how important is police and fire in a small town like Covington?
it's incredibly important. Our fire chief, Jeremy Holmes, one time wrote a pamphlet that he gave me the privilege of reading. And within that pamphlet, he kind of quoted Alan Brunacini and said that the job itself is really just a job, but our calling, the thing that drives us, is the willingness to help. And I think across the board, our firefighters, our police officers, everyone at City Hall, that's the driving force that makes a small town successful, is our desire to help. No matter what your problem is, somebody in this community is going to step forward and do the right thing.
Scott and Trey, it's great to have you on the show today. There's so many cool things happening in Covington, and my family, my granddad, my dad, my brothers, they live next door to you in Henry County, and the South River is all that separates our land from the county, you know, that you're in. So I certainly have been through Newton County a lot, you know, as a boy going to our property. But there's some cool things happening in Covington. Give us an update, kind of on some of the business things that are happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us today, Commissioner. We're really excited. We have so much going on, and we're proud of some of our big businesses. A lot of them, people don't realize they're here in Covington and Newton County. Bridgestone, Takeda, we got General Mills, we've got so much. But one of the big things that we're really excited to talk about is Three Ring Studios or Covington Town Center. Those two items are going to help to transform what people think of when they think of Covington over the next few years.
Yeah, so Takeda has been involved with the pandemic, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They've helped with the vaccines. That's true. That's accurate.
Yeah, and you've got some trails, and I know I got an email yesterday from one of the Bank of America analysts from New York who's going to be down here, who wants to meet with me to talk about our utilities, and we're going to meet over at Ponce City Market, and we're actually going to visit while we're walking on the Beltline. These trails are becoming more and more popular, aren't they?
Absolutely. In fact, I used to live right down the street of Ponce City Market too, so we take a lot of inspiration from there. So we've invested this current council in this current year about $1.6 million in trails just here on the Cricket Frog Trail. And in fact, Maurice Carter coming up has played a big part in that as well. So I'll shout out Maurice in your next segment. But the Cricket Frog Trail is going to expand. It's a transit corridor. It's an economic development driver, and it's going to just get people back and forth. And we're just really excited.
Yeah, and tell me about the ice rink.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll turn it over to Trey here, and I'll throw my mask on.
Yeah, Trey, how's it going?
I'll put my glasses on too, because I can't wear a mask and have glasses that don't fog up. This is the first year that an ice rink has come to Covington, and so we partnered with a group called Ice Days. He has a couple rinks in other locations, and we put the rink at Legion Field. Legion Field, the Cricket Frog Trail runs right next to Legion Field, and it connects to the square. And so we sort of made a destination of come shop, come eat on the square, and then we lit up the Cricket Frog Trail all the way to Legion Field, and then you could ice skate too. So we actually talked to Jim Gomez with Ice Days yesterday, and so far they've had 8,500 skaters this season. And he said his goal is 10,000. He said if he gets 10,000, that'll be a fantastic year, and we're certainly on track to do that. So if you've got till February 15th to come, so Commissioner, if you want to come strap some skates on, come on.
No, I've had bad luck ice skating. I'm 60 years old now. I'm just too old to be getting out there and breaking bones because I'm not a very good skater. Now, roller skating, that's another story. I grew up roller skating, and we've had a great time. We've had a great time with that. So, Jesse, have you done any ice skating? Have you been over to the rink?
Not this year. I stay a little too busy between the fire department and my tattoo shop. I do about 90 hours a week.
Have you ever tattooed an ice skating skate before?
I have not.
No.
No.
Craig's going to be your first,
yeah.
Jesse.
Yeah,
Right here.
On my rollerblades.
I might have to do that for free.
So, I don't know, Scott and Trey, I mean, would you be willing to admit whether you have a tattoo or not? Do either of you guys have a tattoo?
I've got a couple.
Yeah, can you talk about it?
Oh, yeah. I don't have a Covington tattoo just yet, but perhaps in the future. But
Yeah.
mine are all places above the sleeves and knees, so that it can stay professional, but mostly dedicated to travel.
Yeah. Okay. So, Faith, there's a lot of movies that are made in the Covington, Porterdale area. I heard that like The Walking Dead had taken over the mill down there, down the way from you, and your husband was mistaken for an extra, wasn't he, while he was doing his police duty?
He was. So he used to be a City of Covington police officer, and the movies hire Covington police officers. That's a pretty coveted gig. It's good overtime. It's good pay. And he was working the set of the Selma movie. And they had actually turned Covington streets into dirt streets. They covered our streets with dirt to be period. And he was just working security and had someone from the movies come up to him and yell at him for not being in the right place for his performance. And he looked at him and he was like, "I'm sorry, but I'm actually a police officer. Like, I'm supposed to be here."
Yeah. So Scott and Trey, got any, I guess movies have been really good for your town, haven't they?
Yeah. So one thing we're really proud of, and Trey and his team has spearheaded, the Welcome Center, the building we're in today, which is the former police station. Prior to that, the former city hall. So long history. We're reutilizing it, paying homage to tourism and film here in the area. In fact, Trey, we get roughly 3,000 visitors a day that come just for the signage and things outside. We haven't even opened the doors yet. We're ready. COVID prohibits us at this time. That's something that we're real excited about, and hopefully people can get to see this soon. And speaking of film, you want to give a brief update on Three Ring Studios?
Absolutely. Three Ring Studios is it's 157 acres, full service movie complex, and there's possibility for expansion. If they expand, they would be the second largest studio on the eastern seaboard. So right now there's 250,000 square feet of mill building and studio space out there. But if they expand, and that's a possibility, they would be the second largest studio on the eastern seaboard. So huge impact already, and huge potential impact for Covington and Newton County.
Wow, that's really cool.
Matter of fact, Lionsgate was out there a couple weeks ago filming. That was their first movie, so it's operational.
Chris Pratt may or may not have been out there, Faith. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can have star sightings all the time in Covington. I imagine they try to sequester these people. Jesse, have you had any movies with fires where you had to put anything out?
I haven't personally. Several guys from my shifts have been on standby either for fire safety or actually operating a truck in order to flow water for them safely.
Yeah, fire safety is such an important thing. I know Tesla, I'm working with the state insurance and fire safety commissioner to set up a training down at Gypstick down in Forsyth to train firemen and firewomen on how to deal with electric cars that have fires, and what's the best practice. And Tesla owners of Atlanta are helping me kind of organize that. They've actually come to me, requested it, and I'm kind of intervening with them with General King, our state insurance and fire safety commissioner. So, Jesse, I'm going to say bye to you now, and thank you for your service as a fireman. And maybe I come see you. I'm thinking about an ant tattoo. Could you maybe do an ant for me?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jesse.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to bring in Maurice Carter of Sustainable Newton and Morgan. We're going to be talking about renewable energy. Scott and Trey, I know that cities all across Georgia they're looking more and more at EV chargers, at alternative fuel facilities. And I know Covington has a premier CNG facility and adding more and more renewable energy, clean energy, solar to the grid. I know that's becoming an increasingly important topic at GMA meetings. Are you seeing that? Are you hearing from constituents up there, Scott and Trey?
Absolutely. In fact, Maurice just sent an email last night. I was just reading. I forwarded to Trey. But it's good timing, Commissioner. We actually are getting our first EV charging station installed. It's going to be here on site at the Welcome Center, so that should be out of the ground here in the next week or two. And I'll give credit to Maurice and Sustainable Newton for staying on top of us and having us continue to think forward.
I really appreciate you guys doing that. I drive an electric vehicle. I'm on my 4th electric vehicle, and I was just down at Tybee Island last week, and believe it or not, as large as Tybee Island is, it's the top barrier island, on our 100 miles of coast. They have no electric vehicle chargers, and met with the mayor down there, city manager, and they just are desperate to get something. So we're working with Georgia Power to do that. I'm going to say bye to you, Scott and Trey. Keep up the great work. Thanks for all you guys are doing, and we're putting the cityofcovington.org across our screen there for folks to find out more. Have a great day, guys. Hey, Maurice, man.
Good morning.
It's so exciting to see what's going on with solar in Georgia. Give us the state of solar in Covington, Newton, and Morgan County.
Sure, I'll be glad to. But I first want to say thank you, Commissioner, for the opportunity to be a part of the story that we've heard this morning. And as an advocate for sustainability and renewable energy and clean energy, thank you for the passion and the energy that you constantly bring to this. So I'm president of an organization here locally started in 2018 called Sustainable Newton, a grassroots organization, a nonprofit that in a group of people that all said, we really want to do things about the environment. We want to do things to address climate change. We don't want to just sit here and complain and worry. So one of the first things we did in 2019 was organize a Solarize program, Solarize Newton, which then grew to Solarize Newton Morgan. And the idea, and they've been done in other places, Atlanta, Dunwoody, Decatur, Athens, Tybee. And so we brought in some of the same expertise to help us put together a bulk purchase program with a vetted installer and some expert assistance from nonprofits and for-profits in the state that helped us, because I didn't know. And I didn't know it. I felt, who am I to come up with an RFP and choose an installer? But the program basically gave citizens in all of Newton County and then eventually surrounding counties the opportunity to sign up, get a free assessment for rooftop or standalone solar in their home or small business. We're proud of the success we had. When the program wrapped up at the end of 2019, we had 16 installations representing 85 kilowatts of total capacity and 13.5 kilowatts of battery storage. That represents 160,000 pounds a year of CO2 not put into the atmosphere. And also it gives us, a demonstration, right? A place to show others who are interested, look, here's what it's like, here's what I've saved, so it was both the clean energy aspect and the consumer savings aspect.
Maurice, let me ask you about batteries. I'm hearing from Solarize programs that more and more homeowners who are putting solar on their homes want batteries. Are you seeing that?
We did see that. We had, I think those numbers represent at least 2 of our customers that did that. And there were many others who were interested. The payback, the price performance model is a little bit different when you're talking storage versus just, you know, daytime solar. But a lot of people really want that freedom and want that flexibility and want that assurance that, you know, they've always got power. So I think as the technology advances and the cost comes down, I think you'll see a lot. You know, we certainly had people come talk with us who had done installs all over the, you know, the metro area and the state, where, you know, people really are moving in that direction.
Yeah, that's exciting. I know with net metering, and I had James Marlowe and Thatcher and a number of guys from Georgia Solar lobby me every year about net metering, and I guess I just kept procrastinating. I kept, you know, evaluating, wondering if it was really the magic, you know, that was purported to be, and whether we should do it or not. And we finally were able to strike a deal with my colleagues in 2019 to do a small portion of net metering for 5,000 customers on the Georgia Power system, or a total of 32 megawatts. And so there's still a lot of headroom in this, Maurice. We probably have 2,100 people. We haven't even hit the halfway mark. Are you hearing anything about that move that we made to add net metering?
Certainly we are, and it's something that we're very interested in as a sustainability organization. We encourage, you know, efforts to try and move in that direction. We had even more immediate challenges, you know, in our footprint here, because as I said, we had 16 installations. We had 230 people sign up as interested. And so one of the things, you know, you find is that with a large utility like Georgia Power, you know, they have time of use plans and different, you know, things that really amp up the savings opportunity for both solar and EVs. But when you get down into a municipal situation like Covington, Oxford, and Mansfield, they've been running their electric businesses for a long time, and they're really tightly intertwined with the city, with the revenue stream for the city, with the budget. And so I know you had a session at the start of this week on disruptive technologies, but solar and just, you know, this focus on energy, you know, time of use plans, and you know, giving people rich data to manage their use, their electric use. These are tough things for cities, municipal electric companies to adapt. And we're very fortunate that we've got good partners here. So the city of Oxford, during our program, was able to remove their standby fee that had been put in place to try and hedge against that, you know, that revenue reduction. In Covington, it was a little more complicated. There's a lot more rate risk over the long term as we deal with absorbing Plant Vogtle and moving forward with that. So this, you know, we're good to have partners at the city that work with us. And so, you know, they were able to reduce their fee structure somewhat, make it more palatable for folks. But we're still working through that. And then, of course, then you get to the issue, as you said, of net metering and how that impacts people's savings. So,
yeah, I know Don Moreland at Solar Crowdsource had reached out to me and said, hey, Commissioner, could you help us with Oxford? And Faith, I think we sent letters to every council person. And we've done this in several cities, and then had conversations with some of those council people, just assuring them, hey, that this is not a bad thing, that this is going to be something that eventually benefits your city, your ratepayers, your taxpayers, your constituents. And so I think when we can have that conversation, and frankly, Maurice, I view that as part of my job, right? To be a policymaker, a thought leader on this, and to try to work with people in an understanding way, and certainly being able to, you know, to talk with these great city leaders, many of whom are just, you know, maybe they've just run for the very first time. They've never held elected office, and they want to get in there, and they want to give back. And so I think civil conversation is lacking in politics, but it is absolutely critical, don't you think?
I do, and I think, you know, the things that I think have helped us and will help us moving forward is it's that mutual understanding. I've got an advantage. My wife was mayor here for a term, and so I understand the inner workings of the city budget, and so I'm empathetic to the challenges that a disruptive technology poses. But I think what we've established with the mayor, with the council, with Scott and his staff is a mutual objective of moving forward, and certainly the same with our other cities and the county. And, we do what we can do when we can do it. They adopted a sustainability resolution in Covington back last April that really sets some commitment to long-term goals. We did a greening the fleet study. We brought in folks from Georgia Tech's Scheller School of Business, their sustainable business practice.
Wow.
And the graduate students did an amazing job working with the city to look at what a 40% carbon reduction and a 75% operations cost reduction over a period of years if they could migrate both to electric vehicles and also to better leverage the compressed natural gas facility the city's already invested in.
Yeah, Maurice, I want to thank you for being on our very first community focused show today. How can folks find out about your work, Maurice?
We're sustainablenewton.org. We're on Facebook. We're on. We have our website, LinkedIn. So just sustainablenewton.org, and we'd love to engage with folks all over the state on the things we're all trying to do together. Great, Maurice. Have a great day. Thank you, Commissioner. Well, Faith, there we have it. Our very first community focus. Where are we going over the next few weeks?
So next week will be Columbus. And then I believe we're going to Jefferson after that. And then Loganville, Conyers, Tybee Island, and Peachtree City for the next month or two.
So we're going to be focusing on communities across our state. Maybe you want to nominate your city and maybe a particular person. We have organized our show into 4 segments, right, Faith? Give our audience the 4 segments that we'll be doing each week.
So we'll be doing a clean energy done right segment each week. We'll be doing a good citizen spotlight, community headlines, so things that are happening in your local community that's important to the people there. And then we'll be doing a spotlight on human trafficking every week and have an organization that's working in that arena.
And we'll broadcast live on my Facebook page. So if you haven't liked my Facebook page, my official government page, please do that. And as well as my YouTube channel, it'll sit there on the YouTube channel. And by the way, our commission hearings are all broadcast on our Georgia PSC YouTube channel as well. So we invite you to participate. Well, Faith, thanks a lot for all your work on this. And I know you're proud of your hometown of Covington, and it's great to be with you today.
Good to be here.
See ya. Bye, everyone.